Can we make art in minutes with just a hammer? We're gonna find out. I'm gonna start by collecting some flowers from my garden, like this purple verbena, some roses, which are really vibrant in color, and some plumbago and other purple flowers I had, like these pansies. Flat flowers are gonna work best. Then I'm gathering a scrap piece of wood and some watercolor paper. You might also wanna put some newspaper in between. I'm gonna start by taking my flowers and placing them face down on the watercolor paper. You can cut the stems off, or you can leave some on if you want it to look more like a little bouquet. You also have the option to pull some of the flowers off of the stems and place them wherever you like on the watercolor paper. I definitely suggest experimenting with where you place your flowers and what kinds of flowers you use. I'm definitely testing and experimenting as we go. I'm taping some of the flowers down with this washi tape just because it's easy to pull up, and I want my flowers to stay roughly in place when I start the next step. Now comes the fun part. I'm covering my flowers with a paper towel, and then I'm going to grab my hammer and see if we can make some DIY art. I'm starting off by gently pounding the flowers in one spot to see if the natural dyes are transferring. I like using a paper towel because I can see whether the ink is coming up, and that tells me it's probably transferring to the watercolor paper underneath. I know some people also suggest using wax paper, so we're gonna try that out too to compare. Check your flowers every so often just to see where they might not be transferring enough, and you can always go back over those spots with the hammer again. After removing the paper towel, I can see that the ink looks like it's really nicely transferred to the paper. I'm going to remove all of the plant pieces so I can really be sure where I might need to go over this again. I can see that some of those little plumbago flowers didn't transfer as much as I'd like, so I might try going over that one again. You can see these little plumbago flowers are so delicate and dainty that they might require a little extra help, and it's okay if it gets a little smudged because I think it adds to the beauty of this art. If you're still a little skeptical, I just want to suggest that you bear with me because there are a few things we can do to embellish this a little bit more and make it look even more professional. After adding this additional pansy, I feel like my little bouquet of art looks complete, it's all filled in, and now we can move on to just refining it a little bit. One of the things I've been trying to learn recently is calligraphy, so I purchased these fine point brush pens. I thought this would be perfect for adding a little more detail to our pounded flower art. I'm not trying to be too precise here in drawing some outlines, but it does help to add some detail for the center of the flowers and just make it look almost like a watercolor sketch. I feel like this is the most relaxing part of making this artwork, and I'm curious to know if you feel the same way. Do you like doodling or sketching as part of your crafting routine? Leave a comment down below and let me know what you think. To finalize our pounded flower art, I'm just cutting my watercolor paper down to size. I have a bunch of old frames like this one that were perfect for displaying this artwork. Next, I'm going to show you one other option you have for making a DIY card. I think this would be a great idea for Mother's Day or a birthday to make a special card, maybe using flowers that are sentimental to you. Here I tried using wax paper. I didn't love it as much as the paper towel, but the artwork still turned out okay, and I did have to go back over a few more times with some more petals and other colors just to make it a little more vibrant. To give a more professional look to handmade cards, I always like to score my paper, which just makes a line that's easier for folding. And then because my art was a little off center, I decided to add another score line to make it almost like a little notebook. In hindsight, I should have folded my card before doing the flower pounding, but that's okay. Then I decided to pick some ribbon. I had this pretty green one and purple. I went with the purple, but let me know if you think you would have picked the green one instead. After punching a couple of holes in the side of the card, I was able to string my ribbon through and just add a nice little handmade touch. You could even make this into a notebook, which would make a really sweet gift if you just inserted a few pages in here, and I think it would make a beautiful art journal. One of my favorite hobbies is drying and pressing flowers, and if you're interested in learning more about different ways you can do that, I'm going to leave a video here that you can watch next. It has 5 different ways you can dry flowers and enjoy the blooms all season. I hope you go out and make something beautiful.